Project Fishnet set anchor in North Philadelphia this afternoon. The target, suspected drug buyers. One after one, drivers were pulled over just minutes after allegedly making a drug purchase. Their vehicles searched for crack and cocaine. Some alleged buyers reportedly swallowed the merchandise. Others tried to neatly conceal it. Before the day was over, a dozen cars were taken in.
If someone comes down here, buys 1 or 2 bags of drugs, if it wasn't for him doing that, there wouldn't be sellers on the corner. And if he comes down here and he's arrested, he loses his car.
Some of the vehicles will be auctioned off. Since March, about 125 have been confiscated, close to 150 buyers and dealers arrested. Like past Fishnet operations, these arrests are the result of ongoing surveillance of suspected drug areas. Once those areas are identified as actual hotspots, then undercover officers move in and try to make a buy. In this case, an undercover team bought $20 worth of cocaine, then tested it to see if it was real. A pinch of the drug is added to a chemical solution. The pinkish blue color indicates it's true coke. That's what was found in various cars and trucks today. The suspected buyers surrendered quietly, but the alleged drug dealers didn't give up so easily.
Right here, come right towards you, right there.
A long chase, an eventual arrest, and then the thorough search once again for the contraband that Project Fishnet is trying to sweep out of Philadelphia. Rick Williams, Channel 6, Action News.
That appears to be cocaine. That's what I believe.
This crack house on 21st Street in North Philadelphia is closed now after 2 young people were executed in the doorway by a gunman yesterday. But just a few blocks away, this crack house is doing a good business. Here are the major players. The woman sitting down is holding the drugs in a large pocketbook on her lap. This man in the light shirt and dark pants appears to be in charge of the operation. This woman is a customer, and this is how it works. While the customer waits on the right here, the man comes out of the house, takes the drugs from the woman sitting down, and hands them over to the customer, who passes him the money in one swift transaction while half a dozen small children play at their feet.
You can identify crack houses within every other block in the neighborhood.
Jewel Williams heads up the local Community Advisory Council. He says things are so far out of hand in North Philadelphia that it's time for the governor to call out the National Guard to flush the crack houses.
It's at an emergency state now. We're losing lives, children are being shot, children are being paralyzed. People were afraid to walk the streets.
There are signs of pride in this neighborhood as residents carve out little pockets of dignity from the acres of decay. But just around the corner from this Garden of Eden, people are living in fear.
We got to think about our lives too. Look what happened to them. What you think will happen to us?
So if they were selling crack in there, you wouldn't tell the police?
No, I wouldn't tell them. You think I'm going to lose my life for them?
Captain Al Lewis of the 22nd Police District says he's often tipped off to where the crack houses are, but the police just can't barge in. They have to observe suspicious activity and then set up an undercover buy, which takes time.
It could take weeks and maybe months, depending upon the level of investigation required to do so.
Captain Lewis says neighborhood informants will be protected and the drug dealers can't find out who they are. After the recent violence, he's hoping more people get involved before more kids like these are caught in the crossfire. David Henry, Channel 6 Action News, North Philadelphia.
The seizure was captured by federal drug agents on this undercover videotape. Lawmen seized more than 1,000 pounds of cocaine with an estimated street value of $250 million.
We would say almost undoubtedly it's the largest here in this Delaware Valley area, and as far as it rates nationally, it's probably in the top 20 largest seizures in the U.S.
The investigation begins in Philadelphia, then moves to Camden, Elizabeth, New Jersey, and finally Brooklyn, New York. The story starts here at the Packer Marine Terminal. On May 20th, a Colombian ship arrives carrying a 10-ton gear for a ship engine, a part exactly like this one, which was used successfully in an earlier cocaine smuggling operation. Customs officials become suspicious of the paperwork on the shipment. They spend 8 hours taking the gear apart.
This is the main part of the piece of machinery, and then as you can see over there is the top that belongs to it, and also the gears that were taken out of it. Within this piece, there's 3 sections, and in this middle section here, there are 2 plates at about this level, And from that level down, the entire piece of machinery is hollow. And what they have done is they have totally filled this entire section from here down to the bottom with kilo packages of cocaine.
Investigators seize the cocaine, then put the gear back together and allow it to continue its journey, now under the watchful eye of the Drug Enforcement Administration and half a dozen other law enforcement agencies. It spends 2 weeks in this warehouse on the waterfront in Camden, then moves to Elizabeth, New Jersey, where it remains under surveillance for another week. Finally, it spends 1 more week in a warehouse in Brooklyn, and when the 3 Colombian suspects come to recover it, the feds move in and make their arrests. DEA officials said today the suspects may have chosen Philadelphia as their port of entry because they thought it would be easier to get away with it here than in New York or Miami.
Do you get the feeling that they thought they were dealing with rubes here in Philadelphia and could get away with it?
That may have been what they thought.
Again, to give you one more idea of just how big this seizure was, this one more than 1,000 pounds of cocaine. The previous record, only 80 pounds. Law enforcement sources say that more arrests are possible. The investigation continues tonight. Dave Frankel, Channel 6 Action News at the Federal Building in Center City.
Scenes like this have become commonplace in cities large and small. The $2 billion drug bill is aimed at punishing big-time drug dealers and casual drug users. And it became a campaign for House members to prove who could be the toughest in the war against drugs.
I say this today, it's time to fight fire with fire. The American people are fed up, and they're tired of Congress simply talking. Just saying no is not enough.
The measure authorizes more than $100 million for international narcotics control. Money will also beef up drug abuse treatment and education programs. But many members complain that the measure makes wholesale changes in the criminal justice system, possibly stepping on constitutional rights. Repeat drug offenders will be denied federal benefits such as housing assistance and student loans. Civil fines of up to $10,000 could be imposed against persons caught with small amounts of marijuana and other drugs, even without a criminal conviction. Police would be allowed to conduct searches without a warrant if they suspect illegal drug activities. And a federal death penalty is created for drug-related murders. House liberals complain that the bill tramples on civil rights and is more fluff than substance.
I think if this were not an election year, this bill would probably have a greater percentage of substance and a smaller percentage of rhetoric and hype.
But House Republicans, who succeeded in pushing forward their own agenda in a Democratic-controlled House, say they are responding to election year politics, and they're proud of it.
And the public has been demanding of us that we do something to really get tough, not only on drug pushers, but on drug users. I think what we've done reflects that.
Although the legislation passed 375 to 30, many liberals hope the Senate will strip the bill of some of its more controversial provisions. But others say that's not likely. This is an election year, and no one wants to be perceived as being soft on crime.
I like that idea.
Not yet. Make sure you point at $10,000 watch. Yeah, seriously, you got a $10,000 watch behind that. Wow, we'll have to get that.
Open your mouth, man. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. Open your mouth. There it is. There it is. Spit it out. There's one.
Hold on.
Guns. Now, when a person takes a firearm like this and cuts 10 inches from the barrel and cuts 14 inches from the shoulder stock, he certainly is not a hunter.
Yeah.
He's looking to conceal this shotgun and not to use it for a lawful purpose.
Got your